Another goal from Harry Kane. Tottenham get their first win during Project Restart. That's 4 points from their opening 2 games. Of course, playing both at home sets them on their way. We're asking the question tonight on all the goals. And of course, we're going to feature some fan cams as well. We're going to be speaking to some Tottenham fans and some neutrals, maybe a few West Ham fans as well want to phone up because West Ham look like they're in absolute dire straits. But the big question tonight is, can Tottenham make the top 4? It is such a close race at the top. Spurs now move themselves onto 45 points. And do you know what? If Wolves and Man United are being tipped to be able to do it and they're on 46 points, could it be possible for Tottenham? We want your views and opinions. We are going to speak Harry Kane as well. Sergio Aguero is rated as one of the greatest ever Premier League strikers. In his first 200 Premier League games, he scored 138 goals. Harry Kane, in 200 Premier League games for Tottenham, has scored 137 goals. How good is Harry Kane? I want to speak to you all about that tonight because I know there's rumors that maybe his injuries, he's past it now. His injuries have damaged him and all this jazz. But 137 goals in 200 Premier League appearances plus 20 assists is absolutely top draw. Go through the history of the league and find out how many players have scored that volume of goals in their first 200 games for their proper team. I don't know if I haven't done the math. I'm not sure who's done that. I genuinely don't know who it is that's done that. But we've got our first Spurs fan on the line tonight. It's going to be Sam. We're going to jump straight into these fan cams. We'll see you in just a few moments. Dan, welcome to the channel, mate. Congratulations on getting a victory tonight. Harry came back in the goal. What did you make of the performance?
Yeah, the performance wasn't great at first, obviously. As soon as we kicked off, there was always that fear as a Tottenham fan. West Ham were going to try and do something sneaky. If it wasn't done in the first half, we were very negatively thinking that it would definitely get done in the second half. But I felt like the own goal gifted us a lot. Harry Kane did not have any good performance at all throughout that game until he had that one chance where he secured it and got the goal in the net. And then that pretty much summarizes the game overall. Just not a great win, but 3 points is 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things I want to unwrap. And we haven't spoken to many Spurs fans on the channel over the past few weeks. It didn't look like it wasn't a brilliant performance tonight. Of course, there's still rustiness due to 3 months off. How confident are you in Jose Mourinho being able to land you top 4 this season and/or progressing you and the club next season?
Top 4 was over when we lost to Wolves, which had we had our good players, who knows what would have happened. But the fact is, we've had to deal with so many injuries, and then this lockdown, dare I say it, basically benefited Tottenham, and then we have our players back. Top 4 is out of the question. This season is, unfortunately, as it is, a write-off for Tottenham. But it's all about now how high you can finish with the clubs that are remaining above you, i.e. Wolves, Sheffield United, Man United. It's just about how far you can finish, basically, from where you are now. But if I've got to be honest, I genuinely do not think we're going to be playing Champions League football next season.
Yeah, I understand that with where you are. Jose Mourinho, is he right for Tottenham, though? And I say that because we know what he is as a manager. He's a legendary manager of the game. But I feel like going from Poch, who was making you play beautiful football, it was progressive, you almost became European champions. Is Jose right in the medium to long term, or is he a bit of a stopgap until you move on to somebody else?
Well, what you got to understand is that this beautiful football that Pochettino played became dead this season. The amount of even last season, it was some symptoms of starting to show that Poch was not good enough as a manager for us. Like the amount of points we were securing away games, miraculously reaching top on other teams. Mourinho was the right change because I feel like Mourinho still has that status as a serial winner. I know as a Man United fan, you may disagree, but for me, I feel like Mourinho still deserves a chance. It's just a question of whether the board basically backs Jose Mourinho, because it's all good having a stadium. It's all good having, like European football from the start of this season. But the main question is, will you back Jose Mourinho to support him in carrying on his quest for winning trophies consistently? It's down to the board.
There we go. Listen, Sam, thank you very much, mate, for coming on and having your say. And I'm sure we'll chat to you again sometime soon.
Thank you.
Top man. How you doing, buddy? How's things?
Yeah. Not too bad.
Good. You just got your first victory post-lockdown. Not a brilliant performance. I don't think any Spurs fan would go, wow, it would be like sort of watering at the mouth watching it, but it is 3 points. First of all, what did you make of the display tonight from Tottenham? And do you feel it was a marked improvement on your game against Man United Friday night?
There was a slight improvement, definitely. But again, you've got to put context into that. The teams that we played, when you compare Man United to West Ham, there is going to be a disparity in the performance, obviously. So you've got to take that with a pinch of salt. It was a very slow start. We didn't get going. We were taking ages to release the ball. I think Dele Alli was definitely slowing down attacks. He wasn't releasing the ball quick enough at all. I just thought, Lucas as well was pretty poor. He's a player that doesn't utilise his pace enough, running down the channels that he prefers it to feet, which is strange considering the style of play Jose wants to implement. And again, just very excited what we improve later on.
We've had a number of chats about Tottenham, myself and you in the past. What is Jose? We know Jose's style of play as a manager. You know what he's trying to do. How long do you think it's going to take him to build a squad at Tottenham to be able to do that? Because it feels like he's going to have to undo a lot of the elements that Poch brought in. And listen to Sam Pryor, and I understand it had gone stale under Poch. Do you think it was the right hindsight? Do you think it was the right thing to go in a completely new direction, or do you still wish and harbour hopes that maybe you change your mind and go for a manager that can just enhance what Poch had already built?
If Mourinho joined in the summer of 2017 and we made the signings that he wanted to make, that would have been the perfect time to do it. The problem is there's so much in the squad that needs to be cleared. I can give you a massive list. We can go on for ages. Gazzaniga, Vorm, Dyer, Lamela, Harry Winks. Sissoko isn't good enough to start. Lucas isn't good enough to start. Davinson Sanchez, his best season was 2 years ago. He hasn't improved. He hasn't kicked on since. Dele Alli is a system player who fed off Christian Eriksen, the movement of Christian Eriksen and Harry Kane and Son. He's not the same player. And you see when he plays for England, again, he's a shadow of the player he was from 2015 to 2017. So there's so many players that are just surplus to requirements and not good enough as well. But the problem I have with Jose particularly is picking Lamela and bringing him on over, players like Ndombele that we have on the bench, that are actual quality. And obviously we know how much he likes those industrious players and whatnot. But again, it's the Pogba situation, isn't it? When he was there, Pogba's obviously going to, be at Man United for a lot longer than Mourinho, and Ndombele could be the same as well. But
yeah, no, and I get a lot of what you're saying there. I want to speak Harry Kane for a moment because I do feel he's one of the most disrespected football players on the planet. He's one goal short of matching Sergio Aguero's Man City record for his first 200 games. And with all due respect to Tottenham, the quality of Tottenham's team in those 200 games has been nowhere near the quality of Aguero City's team in those first 200 games. And he's practically matched him for goals. How good, in your opinion, is Harry Kane? And with everything you're saying there about Tottenham needing to build it, taking time, would you be, if you don't improve and you don't start winning trophies, would you be surprised if he's here come the beginning of maybe the 21-22 season?
Yeah, I'll be surprised. He's, we saw in that interview with it was Jamie Redknapp, wasn't it, or Jamie Carragher? Yeah, it was Jamie Redknapp, where he was saying that he wanted to win things. He wanted success, and it was basically hinting at going somewhere that might allow him to do that. So it won't be a surprise at all. He's 26, going to turn 27. He's not going to waste time with us if we're not going to win anything, is he? So yeah, and again, the fact that he's scoring all these goals, 8 in 12 under Mourinho, and what Paul Mercer said about he doesn't suit Mourinho's style. It's like the bollocks, isn't it? But he's a world-class striker, and if he was at a good team.
Yeah, Paul Merson has a habit of saying that sort of crazy stuff. Yeah, I just look at Harry Kane, and I just think he's brilliant. And I understand people say he's declining, his injuries are coming in. Maybe, just maybe, but I remember people writing off Robin van Persie at one point, and then he had those 2 back-to-back seasons for Arsenal and then Man United where he was just sublime. And I still think Harry Kane's got another 100, 150 Premier League goals in him. Where he could be impactful for a team for the next sort of 10 years or so. I really think he can do it. And it would just be a shame. I was looking at the bench tonight at Tottenham, and I was looking at Toby and Vertonghen sitting there, and I just thought to myself, what a Premier League partnership they were. But they'll probably never be remembered outside of Tottenham because they didn't win anything. And I wouldn't want that same fate to be for Harry Kane, someone that scores the volume of and the quality of goals that he does, to not win anything and to not kind of stamp his mark on sort of the game at that level. I just think it would be disappointing. And I'm not even trying to throw salt Tottenham's way or trying to be disrespectful to yourselves as a football club. Final point, top 4. Can you make it this year?
No. We can try and aim for 5th. I think we're going to get Europa League football next season. But if Leicester keep not getting the results that they're not getting, and if we win ugly, then there's every chance, because our list of fixtures, we got the toughest fixtures will be Sheffield United away and the North London derby at home.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there are the rest are winnable fixtures. We've got all the top 6 fixtures pretty much out the way. Arsenal not being in the top 6, obviously. We've got quite a decent run. We just need to, if we keep winning, then we just have to hope on other results, really.
It's going to be very, very tight. Listen, bro, I appreciate you coming on and having your say. We'll chat to you again soon, mate. Take care. All the best, mate.
You too, man. You too. Sweet.
Elite, what's going on, bro? You good?
Yeah, man. Just finished watching that game, and I feel for Tottenham fans and I feel for Tottenham players, because they actually have a good squad and have a good set of players, especially in the attack and the midfield area, and they're just being stifled. They're just being stifled by the way Jose wants to play, and it's just very reminiscent of what he was doing at United. And it's just, for me, like, as a football fan, it's just not what I want to see. Jose, for me, top manager. You cannot deny what he's done in the game, but I think his time in English top 5 is over. I think that the way he wants to play and the generation of players coming through don't really match him. So yeah, it's just a real shame, because there's a lot of stumbling. That's what Tottenham's done under Jose: stumble. There's no real clean wins like to that. The attacking force is stumbling over the line. Like, their first goal was an own goal, which is fortunate. But other than that, you was kind of thinking, would they actually make the breakthrough? But yeah, man. Like, it's just, for me, it's just peak times, isn't it? It's just peak.
Yeah, I have to kind of stay true to myself when I think about Jose. I'm not convinced Jose has the mentality as a to coach at the elite level anymore. And I still look at it, and I understood why they went for Jose at first of all. They're just going to win trophies. And then I'm thinking, does Jose have the minerals to do it anymore? And I just feel it's a massive gamble from Tottenham, because Poch took him so far, and I get that it went stale under him. And for what, it doesn't matter what the reasons are right now, it did. But you had a base there. You had a base camp for somebody else to come in and go, right, I can take it to that next level. Jose is a complete change in direction. And if he stays for another 18 months and it doesn't produce the trophies they wanted, you're then caught in a conundrum of, okay, we stick now on the Jose path and the pragmatic approach, or do we go back to what we were doing before? It might take 12 to 18 months to get, maybe longer, to get that system up and running again. And I'm purely talking from a selfish point of view here. I look at players like Harry Kane and think, could he literally spend his career at a club, never quite making it to the highest level? And Spurs can't afford to lose him, because even tonight, even a half-fit Harry Kane, for me, is their absolute best player. I thought he was brilliant tonight. And what's your thoughts on his goal record? 130 goals in 200 games to Tottenham is phenomenal.
He's one of the best finishers in the league. Well, actually, no, yeah, up there, top two with Aguero as like two of the best finishers in the league. It's ridiculous how good he is. You saw that when he went through there, you already knew that was going to be a goal. You had no real shadow of a doubt that he was going to miss. So it's not surprise. The surprising thing is he's got that many goals for a Tottenham team that were up and coming, that had the times where they were struggling, and he still was able to get those goals to get there. So his record is amazing. He's a player that does deserve more respect than he does get, because he's not quick, because he ain't really like skillful and doesn't really dribble past players to that. I think a lot of people will overlook that. But I think it's great. I think that if I was a team like Bayern Munich looking to replace a Lewandowski, Harry Kane's the guy. If Harry Kane's in a team like Bayern Munich, he's hitting almost the same number as a Lewandowski easy, because that kind of a player he is.
Mate, I agree. Listen, Elite KJ, thanks very much for coming on, mate. We'll chat to you again soon, bro. Take care.
All right, see ya.
Hello, mate. Welcome to the Football Terrace. Thank you for making your debut on the channel. How's things?
All good, man. All good. How's things with you?
Mate, can't complain. Let everyone know, first of all, where they can find you on social media. The great podcast that you're on.
Yeah, at Stoppage Time TV, at 360 TV as well, where you kind of post some stuff on there as well. But Stoppage Time TV is the podcast. Me, Cam, and Maze just sort of chop football up every week, kind of from our perspective, in a sense.
Yeah, I see a lot of the clips on Insta and stuff like that, and I've watched a few of the shows. Really, really good podcast, good insightful stuff.
I appreciate it, man.
Not a problem at all. In terms of Tottenham tonight, we'll talk about performance in a bit. I want to keep the Harry Kane thing for a moment. I love Harry Kane. I would have loved him. I would have loved him at Man United. I'm a United fan, just for full disclosure.
Yeah.
His goal scoring record for Tottenham is sickening. Why is it you think that he doesn't get the respect that other players who score at that level generate across football?
Pure and simply because he's at Spurs, to be honest. I mean, if you've got a goal scoring record like that and you're not winning silverware, at the end of the day, that's what the elite of the elite players are judged on, kind of what they win and what they contribute towards winning. For me, he is contributing to taking Tottenham to places they haven't been before, but I think he's going to need more to kind of win trophies at that club right now, because what he's got around him, for me, ain't enough to kind of push him over that edge. But for me, I think that's the key difference as to why people would kind of rate a Lewandowski or a Sergio Aguero higher than him. He's scoring kind of within their numbers, but it's the fact that they're winning silverware, and you can kind of see the effect their goals are having on that silverware.
I hear that.
Yeah, and kind of at Spurs, people sometimes will think, oh, he's kind of just stat padding, where he's putting up numbers, but it's kind of just for the sake of putting up numbers almost.
Yeah, I hear that. Do you know what I don't like about that? Winning trophies is important, but I grew up in an era watching players like Matt Letizia play, as an example.
Yeah.
There's another player lower down the Premier League tier, but skillful, and I think he could have played for a big club. There's a guy called Darren Huckabee. Youngsters won't remember him.
Yeah, Norwich.
Yeah, because these guys weren't winning trophies, but they were skillful and they were brilliant. And I just feel that, Harry Kane, and that's the only thing I would say, and it's never meant as salty towards Tottenham, but there's an element of, I'd be very disappointed in him if he retires at 33, 34, beats Shearer's record, beats Rooney's England record, but there's no trophy in the cabinet. It's almost...
It's crazy. It's crazy. And when you think of it, like a player of his ability, who you look at it, for for Premier League, Champions League, international. He's done it at every single level. And for me, he's now, I feel like, at a crossroad in his career where you can see he's picking up knocks every single year. And he's kind of starting to question himself where, am I going to have the longevity maybe to get to 34, 35 and see out this maybe one Premier League with Spurs? Or is he kind of going to have to leave us over the next, because he said it was in a live with Jamie Redknapp a month or two ago where he kind of might have to. And as a Spurs fan, in all honesty, I don't blame him. I feel like his ability deserves that little bit more. I think he deserves definitely to win some form of silverware by the end of his career. It'd be a shame for one of England's, I think, greatest strikers to retire with no Premier League medal or Champions League medal or nothing to show for it, but just a kind of a great goal scoring record.
Yeah, I agree. I look at it a bit like, you sometimes get a couple, they get together when they're really young, maybe teenagers, but they might get to their mid-late 20s. And then one of them is just like, I don't want to do the same stuff we were doing when we were 18, 19. I want to move on with my life. And it almost feels like Harry Kane's getting to that point where he needs to move on because, look, and the Jose decision is one, I think either is going to pay massive dividends or it's going to look like Daniel Levy's going to have egg on his face because it's such a different direction to Poch. It was a gamble. And the problem for the great thing for Tottenham is you're going to be around for another 100, 200 years. So one or two isn't an issue. The players haven't got that luxury. They've got 12 years at the top maximum. And if it fades away with nothing, it's going to be tough. On tonight's game, you pick up the victory. Good result against West Ham. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen for the remainder of the season? Can you make the top four, or do you think that's dead now?
I think after the United game, for me, that was kind of the make or break game to kind of catch up those around you and kind of directly affect their results as well. I think it's kind of too far gone now. I don't believe that this defense is solid enough to kind of help us string 6 or 7 results in a row together, if that makes sense. And that's kind of what we need to do to catch up. My ideal scenario even would be that we don't qualify for Europa League. I don't want those extra round of fixtures next season. And I know some Spurs fans will say, oh, it's a trophy, regardless, we should go for it. But for me, it's just, you kind of look at Arsenal over the last 2-3 years and kind of what it's done for them when they haven't won it. And I don't know if it's been a benefit for them. For me, I think that you look at any team over the last few years, whether it be Liverpool when they were going for the title, Chelsea when they won the title, Leicester when they won the title. And I'm not saying Spurs are going to win the title next season, but you see the difference that having that less extra fixture in the week, the difference it makes. And I think with us potentially not getting Europe, if we didn't get Europe next year, obviously in the market it's going to be different. So if we focused on getting an important 11 together, because I think we've got a few keys there. It's just defensively where we need to sort out. Yeah. I think that's where we need to address it in the summer. And if we can have kind of like we did under Poch for a certain period when we challenged for the title, we had like a solid 11, and outside of that we didn't have much. We kind of need to get back to that next season, I feel like, and just focus on getting that first 11 right.
There we go, mate. Thank you very much for coming and having your say. We'll chat to you again soon, bro.
No worries, man.
Take care, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. See ya.
Eight, 9, cool guy, Tottenham fan. What'd you make of your performance tonight, mate?
Oh, mate, I'm not too happy, to be honest. I know it sounds silly. We won 2-0, but yeah, you were right about Jose, man. This was kind of like the, what do they call it? An epitome or whatever, epiphany moment.
Epiphany, yeah.
Yeah. So like, basically, it shouldn't be based on one player, but it's made me realize something, that this guy obviously has a proper problem with Tanguy Ndombele. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no reason he shouldn't at least get 20 minutes at the end of the game. We have a problem in that we have Sissoko, who does a lot of DM work, but he doesn't have the positional awareness to be an actual DM. So he's got he can't pass the ball. You know, occasionally he might get it right once out of every 5 times or whatever. Yeah. He's very athletic. He puts in tackles and stuff like that, but he can't sit and screen the defense like a Matic or a Fernandinho or something like that. So Jose is obviously worried about the defense, which I'll come on to that after. But so that means he has to play Sissoko, but he doesn't play Sissoko as a DM. And that means because we don't have a proper DM, he can't play Lo Celso and Ndombele. That's how he thinks. But if it was a more progressive manager, like even Oli, you would get both Ndombele and Lo Celso on the pitch. And that's all I'm asking for. I just want to see the front five of Lo Celso, Ndombele, Bergwijn, Kane, and Son. And that's another thing. Like, why are you bringing Lucas in? I know he had that amazing. He'll always be a Tottenham legend for what he did against Ajax, but he's poor. He can't link up. Do you know what I mean? He can't pass the ball.
What I would say to Spurs fans is prepare to keep feeling that way. But one of the biggest issues United fans had with Jose is I can understand playing, for instance, a double pivot away with two kind of defensive-minded midfielders when you're away at City, when you're away at Liverpool. You know, because Fergie played defensive away against our big rivals many, many times. It's when you're at home against Burnley, at home against West Ham, who are absolutely dead.
Yeah.
And it's so defensively minded. And we had KJ on earlier, and I think he made a great point that it's a good victory, but you know, the own goal is what was the breakthrough. Harry Kane's goal came more because it came more because West Ham then started pushing for an equalizer, and there was the opening as an example. And it's 2 games back, and you're allowed to be rusty, but there just wasn't the cohesion that we're used to seeing with Spurs. And you know, even look, we were. I think Man United in the end were unlucky against Tottenham. I watched the game back, and at least we weren't great because there were still areas to improve on. But there was movement. There was opportunities created. As an example, you know, you saw Liverpool's game. They weren't brilliant, but there were still loads of good little moments. I haven't really seen that much from Tottenham. I thought Lo Celso, to be fair, had a pretty decent game today. Some good passing. Unlucky not to get his first assist. It was marginally offside.
He should have had 2 actually when Kane put it past the post.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, so I thought he had a really good game tonight. As I say, I'm just not convinced that Jose Mourinho is right for Tottenham on many ways. And on the Ndombele situation, you don't play again until the 2nd of July now, which is over a week away. To not give him 20 minutes when, or even 10 minutes, you barely made a substitution. You made 3 substitutions tonight. You kind of look at it and think, could that bite you in the backside? Everybody's looking rusty. Nobody's looking match fit. Sessegnon, Fernandes, and Ndombele, should they have been given 10 minutes? Because maybe that's going to be more important for the run-in. You know, you're out of the FA Cup?
Yeah.
You're out of the FA Cup. You're not in Europe anymore. You've literally got the league to go for. It was just a strange decision to me. But, mate, listen, I appreciate you coming on, as always, and having your say, mate, and we'll chat to you soon.
All right, mate. Cheers.
Top man. Take care.
All right, bye.
Darren, welcome to the Football Terrace. Thank you for coming on, making your debut. I appreciate it very, very much. You picked up 2-0. Not a great performance from Tottenham tonight, but the 3 points are of course, important. What did you make of the display from Jose and his boys? Hang on, mate. You're on mute. You go unmute your mic for me.
All right,
top man.
Now, yep. All right, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. Regarding the performance tonight, I'm not best pleased. We made hard work of that. To be honest with you, West Ham again were there for the taking. They had a few chances themselves. It's a good thing that they were so poor. To be honest with you, I'm baffled as to why Ndombele didn't get any minutes at all, and in the 180 in 2 games, 180 minutes, he has not had a single one, and I'm shocked. I don't understand, because really and truly in the midfield we're not progressive enough. I'm happy that Lo Celso had a great game, but can you imagine the midfield with Ndombele and Lo Celso, especially against United last game, because I thought we could have beaten them, really, to be honest with you. Jose is he baffles me, to be honest with you, because I want to stick with him because he's a serial winner. But the decisions he's making are just are crazy. And United fans are always telling me, well, you know what, look what happened with us. And I'm like, well, you won the Europa League and what have you, with a terrible team. But at the same time, I just don't understand where he's going with us. I don't understand the direction he wants to take us. I don't understand why, how can I put it? Why we just haven't got any creativity. We were fortunate today, I think.
Yeah, mate, do you know what? I feel your pain. Looking back as a United fan, Jose makes so many weird decisions. Example I would give is playing Scott McTominay as a centre back, like on purpose. He'd had an argument in the press, having a go at the owners. We should have bought a centre back and we didn't. He's got 2 or 3 fit centre backs. Okay, none of them are the best in the world, but they're there, they're available, and suddenly, bang! It's Scott McTominay starting that position as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old novice. I mean, he's only played like 5-6 games at that point in his Premier League career in that position. We always lacked creativity. We'd play at home against teams like Burnley and barely create opportunities, it felt like. And your point is right. This first year at Man United, by the way, was positive in comparison to that. The issue that United had is that as soon as when Jose gets challenged, when Jose is not happy with the situation, and I look at the Ndombele fiasco, and it reminds me of the Paul Pogba one, but it's just happened quicker. And I almost get the sense that he's told Daniel Levy, I don't want this guy here. And Daniel Levy said, well, he's staying. And that's Jose's problem. If he doesn't get exactly what he wants every step of the way, he can become divisive. And I just don't, there's something about him being at Tottenham that makes me believe it's all going to end in tears. And the most fortunate, the best thing that can happen from that is that it does happen quickly, but because then not too much damage is going to happen in respect to that. I was just not convinced. And I was, when he first went there, I thought, oh no, this could be bad. But then I've seen him. I thought maybe Joe would be rejuvenated. We'd see that arrogant swagger. Instead, he just looks like, I'll give a good example. I don't know if you watch EastEnders. Back in the day, Phil Mitchell was the man. Now he's just
now he's just he's an old drunkard.
He's not scary anymore. And I feel like that about Jose. And I don't even want to be disrespectful because my dad's a Spurs fan, so I never disrespect the club because my dad would give me a slap. Do you know what I mean? But it's just one of them. In terms of top 4 this season, do you think that's doable?
Before the United game, I said yes, but I'm always being overly optimistic about Spurs. To be honest with you, I can't see it. I think we're too far back. I think we've got we've got next Sheffield United and Everton. They're going to be 2 tough games, and I just can't see us. We're just not good enough. We're just not good enough. We're just not. We're not creative enough. We don't seem to be ambitious enough. Another gripe I have with him, Eric Lamela. I don't understand why he persists with that guy. I don't understand why. I didn't understand why Poch persisted with that guy. I honestly don't. I mean, he's industrious. That's about it. He gives the ball away. He commits silly fouls, gets unnecessary yellow cards. He's been there about at least 3 or 4 years too long. And I was so shocked to see him start the United game. And this is what I'm saying about these strange decisions. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he should never be on. Lucas should never have started. It should have been Bergwijn all the way. Bergwijn's son, Kane, our regular front 3. Lucas sub at best, an impact sub at best. Lamela gone. I just don't get it. There's not enough. We're just too sort of tippy tappy with the passing. We do keep the ball. We kept possession tonight. Fine, that's okay. But we just didn't know. We were devoid of all ideas. In that final third.
I agree. I watched so much of the game, and I just thought, there's no idea. You get the victory, and I always feel like when you have these bad performances, celebrate them and enjoy the points, but don't get distracted from the sense that there was very little creativity at all. And again, it just reminded me of watching Man United in the last 18 months under Jose. No ideas, lack of invention, the players looking disinterested. And, it's when you think where Tottenham were a year or so ago, maybe a bit more than that now, because I know you got to the Champions League final, but it was kind of... We
were poor.
Tottenham were... it was only a couple of years ago. You were going to the Bernabeu and winning. And that's the issue with the decision making from Daniel Levy bringing him in. But mate, listen, Darren, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say.
Thank you.
Chat to you again soon, mate. All the best. Take care.
All right, nice one. See you later.
Top man.
Please.
Nicky, welcome to the Football Terrace. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, Terry. Thanks for the invite, mate.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Not a problem. Obviously, just seeing West Ham lose 2-0 to bitter rivals Tottenham. It's not looking good at the moment under Moyes, is it?
It's not a rivalry at the minute, Terry. I'm afraid it hasn't been for for a long, long while. We're miles apart from what I saw tonight and Saturday from anybody in the league. They fully deserve to win it. I didn't. They didn't have to be fantastic. And I'm not someone that deludes myself with delusions of grandeur. I'm a realist, and I know that Tottenham have got a good side. I knew it was going to be difficult, but what I can't stomach, Terry, is being outfought in games that we need to win, and that's what we've been done in the last two games. They've been tight affairs. Nobody's been really that good. But in games you need to win to stay, to stay in the league, to be outfought like that is a little bit, worrying for us. The noises coming out of the club. Noble telling everyone, we're going to lose games and all that. He was awful tonight, by the way. He was really bad tonight. Give the ball away more than most. Looks unfit. The whole squad look unfit. And then you've got the manager telling everyone, well, I think it might go down to the last game. When you're in a relegation fight, and we've had decent success against Spurs at White Hart Lane with lesser squads.
Yeah,
they seem to be resigning to lose these games, Terry. And I think they're resigned to lose the one against Chelsea. And I think that they're looking from that on. By that time, it could be too late.
Mate, and do you know what's when you look at the West Ham team, you start looking at Rice, Lanzini, of course, Felipe Anderson, Cresswell, Fredericks is a good. It isn't as though your team is full of dirt players, like rubbish players. I think when you've got decent footballers there, and I know it didn't quite work out with Pellegrini, but I remember when you battered Man United earlier on in the season, you were moving the ball, you were playing some football. Do you think the decision to and just repeat what so many clubs have done and go back for David Moyes, do you think that's where the biggest mistake has happened? Have the players almost lost faith in West Ham because of that decision?
To be fair, I think the players have lost faith under Pellegrini. I think it all stems back to the game where we got absolutely walloped by Oxford. We're not going to compete in any sort of in the lofty positions in the league. They was probably looking at things like Oxford as a chance to progress in them cups. And when you've got sort of ambitious footballers who can be mercenary when it comes to the fact of wanting to force a move out, and you go and putting your second string out against Watford and getting absolutely walloped, I think that's where it all went wrong. But when I look back at to now, I made an analogy on Twitter, Terry. It's like going shopping with a blindfold on to go get your dinner. Sometimes you'll go to the supermarket and you'll pick up the right ingredients. Other times you'll pick up a steak, you'll pick up a trifle, you pick up a bit of cod, you pick up rice. It doesn't go together. All decent ingredients, but put them all together, it's fucking disgusting. And that's what we are at the moment. We're a blindfold meal. And that's how that's how our transfer policy is. We've got no philosophy, we've got no direction, we've got no fight. And these players are looking around. It's like a holiday camp at West Ham. They look around and think, if we go down, I'll pop off and move somewhere else, probably a bit cheaper. I'll get bigger wages if they don't have to pay as much money for me. There's not enough players that care for the shirt. Like Anderson. Anderson's a £45 million winger. He's strolling around like he's strolling around on a beach. A lot of their hearts are not in it. We've come back looking the most unfit of all the Premier League teams, and we've come back with the most injuries, which is not a surprise. We've got 4 injuries coming off the back of a 3-month layoff. How does that happen? I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. And I've had chats with quite a few West Ham fans, ever since. Look, it's not as if you guys were winning Premier Leagues prior, but sort of ever since leaving Upton Park, it just feels it's like one thing after another, if that makes sense. And and you have spent money. I think that's the painful part. You have spent money on players when you think of Anderson, Lomachenko. I think Allaire is injured, isn't he, at the moment? He's one of the guys you mentioned being injured. But do you think you'll stay up? Honestly, do you think you'll stay up, or do you think you're doomed to go down? No,
I don't think we will. I don't think we've got the bollocks. And I've been saying that. Sorry, Terry. Sorry, I can't swear on him, mate.
It's all right, mate.
Honestly, I don't think we've got the courage to stay up. I think there's a lot of players there. they're just resigned to losing. They're just resigned to failure. It isn't bred within the club. I don't think a lot of them understand the sort of gravity of the situation yet. But that's what you get when you're using agents as scouts. Scouts are going to tout you around players. They want to get the most money for players. They don't care whether they fit your system or not. The whole club is rotten from the top to the very bottom. We've got no, as I said before, we've got no philosophy, we've got no fight, we've got no direction. And our owners, they're very good money makers. What they're not is very good football people. And what they don't do, because of their egos, is get football people around them to make the right decisions. They rely on other money people. All they're worried about is the money. Money, money, money. Putting money in their pocket, getting out of that club with as much money as possible. And I know you said we spent money, but they was forced transfers.
Right.
The Anderson signing, the 100 million we spent a couple of years ago was on the back of some protests. People was on the brink of lynching them, Terry. And the Haller transfer this year, we've got one first team centre forward, one first team quality centre forward, and that's Haller. We've been lucky this season with our injury record that we've kept him fit and whatever. And he hasn't been brilliant, but he's been a centre forward.
Yeah.
They let 4 go in the summer. You can't do that. You can't let 4 players go and replace them with one and expect to get the same results. We were shit last season. What do they think we was going to happen this season?
I hear that. It's interesting hearing you say that, because I know it's different levels, but everything you just said there about your owners and the way the club was being run, since 2013 until around now, that's how most Man United fans feel about the Glazers, in terms of non-footballing people making footballing decisions, not listening to getting too far into bed with the wrong agents, and not signing the players that are needed for your system, as an example, and spending money, but actually wasting money on players, as you say, that don't actually fit. And all the clubs that do well, generally speaking, are well run. And okay, look, I think Bournemouth are a well run club, and they are where they are, but they've been punching above their weight for about 5 years now, as an example. But generally speaking, the well run clubs sit near the top, and the clubs that are not run particularly well are down near the bottom. So some, Norwich, I don't think they're a horribly run club, but the size of them, it's a different kettle of fish. But no, I do feel your pain, mate. Listen, I appreciate you coming on. Let everybody know where they can find you on your channel, mate.
West Ham Fan TV, mate. Just done a watch along. It's grim viewing, to be quite honest with you, West Ham fan. But I'm sure the rest will enjoy it. But so, thank you very much.
All right, mate. You take care of yourself. All the best, mate. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody who's tuned in this evening, thank you very much as always. We've heard from Tottenham fans, West Ham fan there at the end, Nicky, and we obviously had KJ on as well, chatting from a neutral point of view. And I agree with most of what people said. I don't think Spurs will make the top 4, although we're asking the question. Harry Kane is top class, and he heard it there. West Ham, it's interesting, isn't it? Like, West Ham's plight is almost a mirror image of that of Man United on just a different scale in terms of how their fans feel. It isn't just about spending money, it's buying the right players, football brains making football decisions rather than money makers. And if you've got bad owners, and that's the thing, you can have rich owners, but if they're bad owners, it doesn't matter how much money is spent, nothing good's going to come of it. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.